Update. Am I the a-hole for not forgiving my daughter? Me and my daughter used to be best friends. We did everything together. She truly was the light of my life. But things started to change in her teens. Moodiness, lashing out, lies, etc. I just thought it had to do with her age, that she would grow out of it. I really tried everything. Family therapy, long talks about how much I loved her. But none of it worked. She would either roll her eyes back or spit more of her venom. My husband works really long hours and isn't of much help, to be honest. My husband is white and I'm black, so my daughter is mixed. But she looks white. She really takes after her father. This is relevant. I really don't know what I did wrong, but her dislike for me began to become pure hatred. She would question all the time how someone like me could be her mother when she was white and I was black. At some point, she even demanded a DNA test. I said sure, if she paid for it. She was not pleased with the results. She is 17 now and has begun dating this white boy, and she is head over heels for him. She refused to let me meet him and told me that having a jobless N-word for a mother truly shamed her. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I don't think I have ever experienced such pain. Long story short, I couldn't take her antics anymore and decided to go back to my family in Cuba. My daughter couldn't be bothered to even say goodbye to me. A few days ago, I received a message from my daughter asking for forgiveness. Lots of how she can't fit, is in a really dark place, and lots of excuses. It may sound cold, but I don't want to see her face. I don't care about her apologies. I thought I had made a right decision, but my husband thinks I should really hear her out and forgive her. My family has been harassing me to go back to Miami and make peace with her, especially mother, and friends have been reaching out and have even called me a crappy mom for not forgiving her, and how I must have done something for her to behave like she did. My anxiety has been over the roof and I'm back on my pills now. Is this really my fault? Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments before reading the update 3 years later. Not the a-hole. As a mixed person, I would never say that to my black parent. And would never say that to anyone, period. She's your daughter, so I wouldn't kick her out of your life forever. Not that you were implying that, but remember this and don't forgive her right away. I would suggest therapy or time away for yourself. Also, you were not a horrible mom. Yeah, if she's 17 just now, then I'd say she may grow into a totally different person than a kid who treated Opie like this. I'm also mixed and cannot imagine saying this to a parent. A lot of young teens say and do horrific stuff, feel bad and learn from it, and grow into decent adults. Definitely needs to be therapy, and get into why she was acting like this, healing wounds, discussing seemingly enabling dad, etc. But nobody will fault you if it takes a while before you even want that, OP. I have to wonder who is filling the daughter's head with this crap. Does this come from her school, social media, etc.? It may be better if the daughter flew down to see the OP, paid for by both parents. That way, she can meet her mom's side of the family and see what life is like for them to get to know the Cuban side a bit better. OP isn't required to uproot her life just because the daughter has had a sudden change of heart. Daughter has to earn it. Absolutely not the a-hole. I hate to say it, but your daughter has been emotionally mistreating you, and your husband seems to be complicit in this. Not the a-hole. If any of us said anything even half that hateful to my mother, Dad would have been all over us. That would not be accepted and it would be made clear what our error was. Where was her husband in this? Now for the update. I know it's been 3 years, but several people still ask me about it because they saw my post on TikTok or other media. So, I wanted to make this post to thank everybody who gave me such kind and sensible advice 3 years ago. Even though I didn't reply, I read most of the replies, good or bad. And I'm thankful for all of you who encouraged me to give my daughter a second chance. I'll summarize it. I went back to Miami and she gave me a heartfelt apology and explained all the dark things her boyfriend was getting her into. We got into therapy once again. She left her horrible relationship, and these past 3 years our relationship has become better than ever. It was not easy, but definitely worth it. I'm glad I didn't give up. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling mom she's a terrible mother and giving her a 3-day notice to move out? I, 23 female, live with my fiancé, 23 male, and my siblings, 20 male, 17 female, and 15 female. I have been taking care of my siblings since I was 8 years old, simply because we have crappy parents. Our mom is an abusive narcissist and our dad is a passive-aggressive drunk. I've been responsible for the lives of 3 children since I was a child, but I love my siblings nonetheless. About 2 weeks ago, my brother came to me and begged me to let my mom come and stay with us for a few weeks because she had recently become homeless. I was reluctant, but reality is my brother pays bills here as well. And even though I don't have any love for either of my parents, I would never strip away the love my siblings have for them. As you can imagine, living with a horrible narcissist always ends bad. Despite making things unbearable since the moment she came, last night was the last straw for me. My fiancé or I make dinner every single night, and we all sit down and have dinner together. I made dinner last night and told my mom that it was ready. She got up and got in my face about how she doesn't feel loved here, and how I'm a crappy child, and saying things to my younger siblings that I won't even repeat. There was a lot of back and forth, but ultimately I got back in her face and told her she is a crappy mother. I told her how I've raised her kids for her, reminded her how 13-year-old me and my 11-year-old brother would have to steal food from the store to feed our sisters because she chose a man over us and abandoned us. Told her how I sacrificed my life because her and my dad were trash parents. It ultimately ended with a lot of back and forth and me telling her she had 3 days to get out. Now I'm morally struggling, mostly because of some of the things I said to her. I wasn't trying to be an a-hole, but just years of everything broke me down. Am I the a-hole? Edit. My sisters feel the same as me when it comes to our parents, as in no love for them. However, my brother have always had a soft spot for our mom, which of course I don't fault him for. He's just a boy who wants his mother's love. Not the a-hole. She needs to go before she does any more damage to your siblings. And you? He wants a relationship with his mother? It has to be outside your home. Yep, this. I get your brother still seeks his mom's attention, but don't sacrifice your other siblings for his blind love/loyalty. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. Setting boundaries and enforcing consequences, especially with parents like yours, is paramount. You need to protect your peace and your family's well-being. Your cup can't spill over for others if it's not filled up for yourself. Not only that, this gal needs to be in a lawyer's office yesterday. Her mom cannot be allowed to be in a position to claim custody and ruin her siblings' mental health further and worse, especially if they're away from her sight. You are absolutely not the a-hole. What you are doing for your siblings is amazing. Your siblings are extremely lucky to have a stronger older sibling, as thoughtful and as caring as you are. She got up and got in my face about how she doesn't feel loved here and how I'm a crappy child. Ridiculous comment. Maybe if you didn't have to be a parent to your siblings, you might have time and energy to show more love to others. Sorry to your mom, but you and your siblings come first. Opie, you are amazing doing what you're doing at such a young age. The audacity of the mom to call her child who is taking care of all of her other children a crappy child? I hope that she has no custody of the other children. Next story. Am I the a-hole for letting my cousin starve? A lot of emotions are overwhelming me right now, so I'll try to keep it simple and to the point. My male 27, cousin female 29, let's call her Sue, is an artist. By that, I mean she has a bachelor in fine arts. Ever since high school, her dream has been to become a world-renowned artist, akin to Picasso, Dali, and whatnot. But honestly, she doesn't have what it takes to be on that level. Thing is, she refuses to work in an industry where her skills would be needed. The most work she's ever done is as a cashier in retail, forever hoping she's gonna hit it big with one of her artworks. Now, I always felt bad for Sue. Her mother made a lot of poor financial decisions and her piece of trash father walked out. My parents, grandparents, aunts, and uncles helped them out financially from time to time, but their attitude towards my aunt was always, she did this to herself. Our family members were extremely angry that Sue chose to pursue fine arts. They all grew up during communism and see this sort of degree was a waste of time. So, they essentially stopped giving them any form of financial aid. I never stopped. About 5 years ago, my friends and I got really interested in D&D. Essentially, I talked to Sue and told her I'd give her a monthly sum of money and in exchange, she'd draw stuff for my D&D campaigns. She was reluctant at first, saying her art is not for this sort of simple things, but I think her mother convinced her to take the deal. Initially, things were working out. I'd pay her every month and she'd send the drawings on time. But as time went on, she began being more and more off deadline. I'd always pay her on time, but she'd be weeks than months late. Last commission was for 10 artworks for a new campaign and she's essentially ghosted me for 4 months about it, while I've still been paying her. I had to delay the start 4 times, and it really ticked me off, because at this point, it's about me letting down my friends. So I canceled the January payment. She couldn't even be bothered to contact me immediately. It was only 8 days later she angrily calls me asking why she has no money in her bank account. At the time, I was tired and her attitude annoyed me, so I gave it to her straight. I told her how she should be thankful for what I'm doing for her. Instead, she bites the hand that feeds her. How instead of dreaming she'll make it big, she should use her skills to look for a real job. I told her to stop being a leech to her family, and of course that she won't see a dime from me until she finishes those damn drawings. And after that, our deal is off. My aunt called me, crying and begging to send Sue the payment, otherwise she'll have to starve for the month. I don't really have anyone to talk to about this, and I know for a fact my family members would just encourage me to stop helping them. But my wife's attitude towards this problem is along the lines of, we can't afford it, so just help her. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. She agreed to create art for payment, like an artist does. If she either feels D&D is beneath her or cannot keep up with her commitments, then that's her problem. Seriously, she did what every famous artist pre-20th century did. Found a patron who'd pay her bread and butter to create art. Then she decides she doesn't want to make art for her patron, so the patron lets her go. You give no service, you get no goods. So completely off topic, but that's my theory on Winchester House Psychic. I think she made every single thing up just because she found somebody to pay her and believe everything she said. Lol. Not the a-hole. If I don't show up / don't do my job at work, I don't get paid. This is life. You've been more than generous. You won't be responsible for her supposed starvation. She is responsible for her own life, choices, and money. They are called starving artists for a reason. All the examples given by the OP are of artists that died poor. They got famous centuries after their deaths. Lol. Not the a-hole. You're not doing your cousin any favors by continuing to pay her for doing nothing. I've been a working artist for many years, and most people like me never achieve what your cousin is dreaming of. Continuing to wait for it while doing nothing to generate regular income is not going to work. Most artists never have that one piece that hits and make them famous, and have to learn to create many streams of revenue in order to keep themselves going. So for me, that means selling original work, but also selling image sheets, teaching classes, ad revenue from 2 of my 4 websites, running a Patreon and a Substack, building my following in social media, having designs available on print-on-demand sites, books on Amazon, whatever I can think of to bring a few bucks in. Your cousin needs some hustle. Withdrawing your support might light a fire under her butt, which is what she's going to need to make it as a working artist. Last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my dad's girlfriend why we don't talk, causing them to break up? So, long story short, I, 35 male, am basically been no contact with my dad since I was like 22. He will text every now and then, which I will normally just ignore. He has been seeing his new girlfriend about a year and a half now, and for whatever reason, decides to show up for once to his grandson's first birthday. My sister's kid, not mine. And he brought his girlfriend with him to introduce to the family. Now, I am a smoker, as is she. Bad habit, I know. So I announced was going to be outside for a few minutes and she followed suit. We got to talking and she asked why myself and my sister don't talk to my dad or ever reach out, and I told her exactly why. When we were kids, my dad would either be at work or golfing and basically left our mother to raise us. He makes good money, about $150K a year at a time, now even more. But I had to delay college until I was 25 because I was considered a dependent, and FAFSA for student loans purposes goes off your parents' income. So I qualified for 0 loans, and my dad offered 0 help. So I got a job after high school and moved out, supported myself until I was 18, and went back to college at 25. I graduated with debt, but it's manageable. And I told her at no point has he ever offered any support to myself nor my sister, emotionally or financially, in that he was a cheapskate that cares more about himself than his own family. Now, to my surprise, she had already started noticing these characteristics of my father, and hearing what I had to say just confirmed everything for her. They broke up a few days later after she called him a deadbeat dad and a cheapskate. My father has been blowing up my phone, calling me an entitled a-hole and saying I was an adult and should have been capable of doing it on my own, which I did at 18, with no help. He said I had no right to say that, and I told him maybe if he had been a father, I wouldn't have the need to. Am I the a-hole for airing out my grievances to my dad's now ex-girlfriend? Not the a-hole. You told the truth. If he wanted you to tell a different story, he should have lived a different life. This is a good point. Thanks. Not the a-hole. You are not the keeper of your dad's reputation. If he sees nothing wrong with how he treated the two of you, he should have no problem with anyone knowing. Don't feel bad. You saved that woman some time. How was that quote again? If it can be destroyed by the truth, it should be destroyed. Besides, she was already doubting him. No wonder. If one of your children cut you, maybe it's a child's issue. But if both cut you, well, chances are you are the issue. I have to assume that Opie's dad and girlfriend showed up to the birthday party because the girlfriend had started asking questions like, "Why do you never see your children or grandchildren?" So they came, and Dad hoped against hope that his kids would portray a happy, loving family so that his girlfriend would be impressed. Then Opie went and ruined everything by answering a question honestly. Not the a-hole. If I was the girlfriend, I would have dumped your father too. You have a right to be honest about your relationship with your dad. To be honest, you did a girlfriend a favor by being honest. Seems like your father just showed up to the birthday to fake being a good parent and the girlfriend caught on. The girlfriend asked about your relationship with your dad because she noticed that he might not be a good father to his current kids and wanted the truth. You didn't tell her to dump your father, and it was her choice. If your father wasn't willing to help his own son through college or come to visit his grandkids, it is clear that he won't be a good father to their kids if she were to have one with him in the future. In her words, deadbeat. My mom divorced my dad for the same reasons.